So, for the past 6 months, I have been working on my action research project, which has definitely been very interesting. I've had a lot of challenges, but I've also learned a lot of things, and I'm very thrilled with the overall experience and my final product. But let me walk you through what happened during these 6 months. Being an athlete and being passionate about a sport, I already knew I wanted to do something involving sports. I originally started my topic with character and how athletes tend to have a better character, but through research, I kind of went away from that topic and more focused on discrimination against female athletes just because being a female athlete, I have noticed there have been some disadvantages of being a female athlete. I originally wanted to focus on why female athletes should get the same advantages as men, and through researching through that, I started to realize that the reason men got more than women do was because of the money they were bringing in. They tend to bring in more than women. I then came to the conclusion that consumers ultimately were affecting what gender was going to have the most opportunity, resources, and marketing tools in that specific sport. I really started my research with the Lit Review. This is how I came across the stereotypes and realizing how they are affecting the female athlete. Once this was done, I started thinking about what I wanted my documentary to look like, and I began with looking for possible interviews. I then started actually meeting with people and trying to get a feel of what areas I should be focusing in. I really used Nan Ambrose to my advantage. She helped me with people I should be talking to and like her views of how stereotypes were affecting it, and she really helped me with the consumerism and how that was playing a role in it. Once that was done, I actually started the interviews. So I first interviewed the UVA lacrosse coach, and then afterwards it was time for me to start my second one plan, which I decided I was going to turn in a script. So I met with Mr. Shemetek a lot, and we planned out an entire script. It included what was going to be put on the screen and what was going to be said. And then after that, I created another survey with him, and we also drafted up more interview questions for Miss Ambrose. So then I proceeded to interview Miss Ambrose, and I passed out the survey questions to the GCS students. And during this time, I continued my research. And once that was up, I put together my documentary, which included the videos, it included pictures, it included charts that I made with Mr. Shemetek showing discrimination, and just pretty much everything in my documentary I just took together and edited. I think what went really well was my knowledge of the topic. Being an athlete, I had many connections to people. So I was able to get a lot of information. They were able to help me decide which direction I wanted to go in. Also, Nan Ambrose, using her and going to her a lot really, really helped because I was able to gather interviews, gather resources I needed, and she even let me interview her, which was really nice. I also think I had really, really good resources. I had books, I had people, I had data. It was all really good, and it really proved my theory correct. And I think my biggest strength was the survey I created because it pretty much proved exactly what I was thinking and what that consumerism was impacting female athletes. And then after I created my script, I didn't like how broad it was, so I created a detailed outline. And I really, really think that worked well for me because when I was actually sitting down and editing my project, I was able to look at it, and it helped me pick places that I needed to put certain things in. One of the things that didn't go so well for me was definitely my documentary being deleted because, first of all, I wasn't finished with it yet, and it was due, like, the day I was going to turn it in, it got deleted. So I was kind of scrounging around trying to figure out what to do, but we eventually got it back. I think overall, my weakest skill was probably organization. I wish I had followed a timeline because I found it hard that I couldn't get certain interviews. I had pretty much all of my interviews the week before I actually started putting everything together, which was frustrating. I should have had it like spaced out in a timeline. Also, gathering the research at first because people didn't tell you up front that there was discrimination against women. I really had to dig for it, and majority of it came from like equity reports and like attendances and just stuff like that, little data that it came from. And also, I did take things from scholarly journals. And then I just really think organization was the weakest point for me. Just because I felt like everything was just so last minute. I'd also have to say another challenge was the software we used. I didn't have that much knowledge with it, so it made things very challenging to edit. I wish we had spent more time going over the software and knowing it because I feel like I really would have been able to make the documentary more artistic if I had actually been aware of what I was doing. The main goal of this project was to prove that female athletes are athletes just like men are, and that they deserve just as much as men do, and they do deserve the same recognition. What would be nice for me to do in the future, I was thinking, would be sit down and actually sit with female athletes and maybe just do a documentary on the female athletes talking about their experiences of being stereotyped and being held back just because she's a female. And I just want to know like the impact it has on them and why this needs to not be an issue in today's sports world.